What up, ladies and gentlemen? We got a emergency podcast here. Hot topic stemmed up, got opened up can of worms on Twitter. Is Stephen A. overpaid? Guy makes $8 million a year as probably the top face of ESPN. We're gonna get into it because we got some different views on this topic. So I'm gonna start the
Oh
timer
yeah,
now.
you guys have some different views. Yeah.
You got different views. You don't even
This
know
is
who
why
he
we did that.
is.
Because Kyle and Monis got into it today, all right? So now we have to hash this out on the
Now we have
podcast.
Zach, do you not have a view on this?
No, I definitely have a view on it, but I'm gonna save my view until afterwards, after you two duke it out. So who wants to go first?
You're gonna listen to us duke it out and then mediate at the end?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
I guess we're gonna start. We'll start it. We'll start the timer. Timer's
Yes.
going. 10 minutes on the clock.
Who's going first?
Manas, I'll let you take the floor. This is your guy.
Oh.
This is your guy.
All right, Monis.
Okay.
Just
So, well,
I guess the question is
Well-
Stephen A. overpaid?
so in my opinion, the only reason I'm gonna say underpaid is because we know how much money everybody else in that industry makes. We know how much ESPN makes. We know how much the leagues make, how much the commissioners make, coaches, players, everything. And $8 million is probably pretty chump change compared to all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I want to point out is that I think the reason Stephen A. brought this up about him being underpaid is because when you look at analysts that aren't even actually analysts, that are actually just like commentating on Monday night, Thursday night, Sunday night, and they actually just say like stupid things all the time, like Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, and then the crazy contract that Tom Brady just signed. Tom Brady contract, I'm going to give it. But still, I think Stephen A. in the 20 years that he's been at ESPN has created such a persona for himself, like around the world. He's the most notable face. He's like, when you think ESPN, you think Stephen A. When you see a Stephen A. video pop up, I don't care if it's a good take, a bad take, whatever, you're viewing it. Everybody does it. Everybody knows who he is in the sports world, outside of the sports world. And I think he deserves to be paid more than any analyst in the game, at least. Like whether it's on ESPN, NBC, Fox, whatever, he is the face of the sports world.
All right. Then let me ask you this: you're the owner of ESPN. How much are you paying him a year? They make $4 billion in revenue according to Google in 2021.
Yeah. So I know earlier I was making an absurd, exaggerated statement saying that as an owner of a business, I would give 50% revenue to the face of my franchise. Not giving Stephen A. $2 billion. No one makes $2 billion fucking dollars unless you're
like
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, fact.
Yeah. I gotta say, I think Zach's 25 million would be my minimum. Like I would say 25 to 50.
Okay.
I was originally gonna go 50, but then I was like,
50
we'll
million
knock it down.
a year.
Yeah.
50 million a year. Okay. I think
The company's evaluated at $50 billion, Kyle.
No, I get that. I get that. But I think 50 million is a crazy amount to give.
I think it's an earth-shattering number, but I mean, the guy literally generates storylines. Like he creates paths that he wants. Like if Ben Simmons were to get buried, Stephen A. probably started it. If Aaron Rodgers is going down, Stephen A. starting it. Everybody in America hates the Cowboys because Stephen A. puts on the cowboy hat and goes, "How about them Cowboys?" every single time. Everyone knows because Stephen A. is a Knicks fan and every single time screams about the entire franchise.
Yeah.
I just don't see. I think he's underpaid. I'll say it. I think he's underpaid.
Oh, hold on. Monis, are you done with your point?
Yeah, I mean, that's my main point. Yeah.
All right, Kyle, let's hear yours.
Okay, I won't say he's overpaid. Right. I do agree he's a big face of ESPN. He does a lot for them. He brings in a lot of streaming, a lot of revenue, a lot of views. I get that, and his whatever he does in the morning has been popping off. But I think 8 mil is a little low. I would probably go between 10 and 15. 15 would be it's hard because it's such a big company, and my argument is that if he retires, ESPN will find another Stephen A. Someone that can do that same thing, make exaggerate.
Hold on.
They could find someone that could exaggerate the headlines, make these big things. And Stephen A. isn't. he doesn't go super in depth with sports analysts anymore. He's more of like this public figure. He does a lot of political things, social movement things. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all, but I think he's kind of has his hand in so many pots where it's really easy to bring someone else in that can almost do that same thing. He likes to stir the pot, and I think that's really easy to do. I think that's really easy to recreate with someone if he's
You do
gone.
it all the time, Kyle.
Well, yeah, I can do it. Like I could step into that role. So I think he does bring a lot to ESPN. He brings a lot of views, and I think he's really good at what he does. So I think he should get paid. And I think I didn't realize how much Troy Aikman and those guys were making as commentators. I personally think as a professional athlete, you should make more because I believe your insight should be higher than an analyst that has no professional background. So I think that's what puts them in a different bracket completely.
Yeah.
What about the point you were making about Tom Brady earlier today?
Okay, so my point with Tom Brady, right? Because Mana said Tom Brady, if he's going to get a fat contract, or did he already got a fat contract?
Like 10 years, $350 million.
Right. So my argument is, right, Stephen A. Smith, he's supposed to be the basketball guy. Like that's his expertise is basketball. I think if you have Stephen A. making a take on basketball compared to Tom Brady making a take on football, breaking down a player, and Stephen A. breaking down a player, people are going to pay attention more, way more, extraordinarily more to Tom Brady's take than what Stephen A. has to say. That's my argument. And that's where that value comes in.
So the reason I disagree with okay, I'm not taking away that Tom Brady shouldn't get paid as much as he should, but I think if Tom Brady's gonna get paid that much, why shouldn't Stephen A. get paid that much? Stephen A. talks about every single sport, every single day for the last 20 years of his life, which is what Tom Brady's been doing with playing one sport for the last 20 years of his life. Stephen A. has been watching sports, been like close to all these athletes in every sport. Like everyone knows him. Like he can walk in a fucking stadium and dap everybody on the team up, and they're like, "Oh my god, that's Stephen A." Like all that shit. Like he is so. I honestly think when you're watching a sportscast, he is way more notable. Like there's people who hate Tom Brady. Like there's people who will not want. Like I'm not gonna watch Tom Brady analyze a game ever. Like, there's people who don't watch the Manning cast specifically because they don't like Peyton or Eli Manning.
Yep.
Like, I think Peyton Manning, I think both of those guys are, like, equally as notable as Tom Brady. How much are they getting paid? I want to know that, actually.
But to be fair as well, a lot of people don't like Stephen A.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing. He used to be so hated in the 2010s and the early, even the early teens, bro. And he completely just became a polarizing figure to the face. Like, now everyone, like, actually respects this guy, calls him the king of media. Like, dude, even ESPN knows how valuable he is. They literally took they brought Max Kellerman on as the anti-Stephen A, fight each other, and they listen to Stephen A and kick Max off when it's time to go. They bring in Mad Dog Russo, bro. That's what they tried doing, Kyle. They tried doing Mad Dog as another fucking flamboyant, making crazy takes, yelling about bullshit. He sucks, dude. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Mad Dog Russo on First Take.
Yeah, no,
he is horrible.
He's too old. He's too old. He's out of the times.
The whole time, everything he says is inaccurate. And, like, after all this, they gave him Stephen A's World. They're giving him a new show called NBA on Stephen A's World. He goes on all the games, like halftime shows all the time. Like he's everywhere. Like he's literally everywhere in ESPN.
So one thing I will add to this is he's the 7th highest paid analyst in the game. All right. Number 1 is Michael Strahan, and I think it's like 19 million. Yeah, Michael Strahan. So to Kyle's point, it's like a specific sport, I guess, football, and football makes a lot of money. Which I can understand why he's getting paid so much. It's like Roger Goodell in his contract. Like he's getting paid a shit ton of money to basically just listen to the owners and do whatever the hell they want. But okay, my point. Okay, this is where I'm at on this topic. All right. So earlier today, I said, you know what? I respect what Stephen A does, 100%. I respect it. I understand why he's so watched. Okay. But as a sports fan, sometimes I don't like some of the takes that he has. Not to say all the like social like change and you know like that stuff. That's not the stuff I disagree with. It's some of the just takes that are just so outlandish. But at the same time, from like a business perspective, it's like obviously you're gonna want to draw attention to yourself. You're gonna want to draw eyes. You want to bring in the money, and that's why he's paid 8 million. But I think 100% he is underpaid, especially as like the face of ESPN, which is supposed to be a company
Number one sports.
that includes so many different sports, like golf, tennis, like every Sports Center is fucking literally every single sport, every single sport, and it's it's suitable
Okay, I
that
was
he
saying earlier, Sports Center gets 100,000 views, and
yeah
First Take gets 300,000 views. Sports Center is
yeah
literally like the
exactly.
show that everyone leaves on the TV all day.
Yeah, so as for a company that is generalizing all these different sports, that's pretty much what Stephen A does. He specializes in obviously NBA, but he talks about all these different sports and like he's knows his shit. The one thing that I hated that Stephen A did, and I think that you guys can probably agree, is when he went to the UFC event and he was broadcasting that. Because that I was just like, what the fuck are you talking? Like some of the stuff he
Dude,
said, I was
Matt
what?
so bad at that.
Dude, yeah,
And Joe
at that point,
Rogan,
you gotta know your boundaries, your limits.
Joe Rogan like knows UFC
Dude,
and MMA.
but I guarantee you, it got more views than normal.
Yeah, 100%. It got more views because he was there.
Just because he was on it.
Hated it. I hated it. But like I said earlier, yeah, he should 100% be getting paid more, especially since he has his own shows and shit. 8 million, like, come on, 8 million. Like
Look, I said 12 to 15 would be where
you're
I would put it.
evaluated. Yeah, but he's evaluated at, or the company's evaluated at $50 billion, and you're bringing in probably a lot more revenue with the work that you're doing, and he's been there for what, 20 years? So like
Yeah.
This is
at
also
this
like
point, like you should probably be
Like the
making more.
argument I was making is like because he's like so relevant to them and how like much he pivots storylines and creates storylines. Like I honestly think he brings in like close to 50% of that revenue just from what he does.
Brings a lot of attention to ESPN. He does, but
Like ESPN is a primarily reporting company. They're not like playing the
Yeah,
sports or organizing sports. They're reporting
yeah,
on it.
they're
That's
not
what
like
he's-
their own like so like these different sports like the sports like Tony Romo or Troy Aikman and those guys. I'm not sure. Do they get paid by the network or do they get paid by the NFL to analyze these games?
the network, like CBS
Network,
signs them to
NBC,
fat
yeah,
contracts.
Well, I can understand that because they have their own deals with the NFL and whatever, and they're getting paid from as like guys that have played.
Yeah, and I mean, I looked
Dude,
it up. Those corporations' revenues are a lot more than ESPN's.
Yeah, 100%. Tony Romo is getting paid 18 mil. Like, he's what, been there for 4 or 5 years as a mediocre like player that played in the league. He don't get me wrong, he knows
He's good at calling plays, but like
well.
that's also the only thing he does. Like that's
yeah,
all
it's
he
one
does.
thing in a somewhat in a broader like, and ESPN is just like he just has to get paid more.
Well,
Like
that's
it,
where-
it just
I think that's where he's shooting himself in the foot, though, is because Stephen A is so broad, and that's why I think they're like this guy's replaceable because he's not a specialist anymore. He's not
Well,
a
Dude,
specialist
I
in the
just
field.
don't think he's replaceable. I don't think he's replaceable.
I
You
don't
can
think
get
he's
someone who
replaceable.
knows. His personality might not be like, but you can put someone in who knows broad topics that can that can stir the pot, and I think that's where it is. Troy or
Yeah.
Tony
Yeah, but I
Romo,
think a lot of
he is a
views come-
specialist.
I think
Specialists get paid
a lot of the comes from his work for like through social change. He's not afraid to like. He even calls out ESPN saying that he's underpaid. Like a lot
And
of it
also,
comes.
like, the other thing is like no one is as well connected as he is. Like he has
Yeah.
power over ESPN to be able to say stuff like that. He's so deeply connected through players in the NBA, owners in the NBA, coaches, like even football, even baseball, like all those organizations. He's so like closely connected.
Like he brings ESPN a lot of, I guess, business or like views or like he just brings them a lot of money, a great deal of money.
Like Mike Greenberg and like Max Kellerman and like Keyshawn and shit, like they can't just walk up to the middle of an NBA court and get recorded like walking like a savage. Like,
Kyle, think about it like this. Think about ESPN as a team, all right? So say they were the fucking
yeah,
Dallas
who's the quarterback? Who's the quarterback?
Quarterbacks getting paid a fucking shit. I mean, fucking what Patrick Mahomes was getting paid what half a billion
Yeah.
dollars.
What's the next? Well, yeah, like there, it's literally like 4 times more the next highest paid position.
Exactly, and they're worth 50 times more than like the team. Well, I don't know. Dallas Cowboys are what? I think they're probably like $1 or $2 billion. Like, and they're paying their quarterback or I don't know how much the Chiefs are, but they're paying their quarterback 300 million over several years. So like, fucking Stephen A can't even get fucking 50 mil for what year when you're making 4 billion in a year. Like,
But that revenue is spread out over so many things that they're doing. And so I'm looking up right now the top shows or programs that are presented by ESPN or the current best shows. Pardon the Interruption is ranked number 1. Actually, I think this is fan voting, so I don't think this is like actual streams.
Yeah, you should look up most viewed. That's how you get revenue.
That's what I'm trying. Yeah, top.
Also, one thing to keep in mind with that is like, the like as an organization, like as an NFL football team, they're paying out all sorts of different, like the revenue's going and being paid to so many different places, and like fucking what, it's just like it's the same thing as ESPN. They obviously have to pay a bunch of people, but compared to like what they're giving him, I'm pretty sure they could probably do better than that.
I think they could do better, and I think I would value him at 12 to 15 mil. Personally.
Yeah, like I would say like get at least in the range of all those other analysts who are naming that are paid on him that don't do nearly as much as he does. Like, I understand they were faces of their sport, like they have great insight, but they're not like literally his job. I
would not have thought that Strahan was the highest paid either.
Well, so it's
Strahan,
interesting.
that was like a record breaking. He was like the first like athlete to be that big of a face on sports. Like,
yeah, I guess. So I guess my question, little bonus question, does Michael Strahan being the top paid analyst hurt Stephen A's argument that he's underpaid because of the color of his skin?
Oh, I don't agree with that.
I think he signed a shitty contract a few years. I don't know when he signed it.
I think he's underpaid because corporations are terrible people.
Right. And I think he got caught in a shitty contract. I bet you when they renew, they're going to give him.
I think that, as I'm saying, I think ESPN themselves know the value of keeping Stephen A, but they're trying to underpay him on purpose because it saves them money.
Well,
that's business.
Also,
that's
ESPN
business.
is.
I don't think it's a race. I wouldn't go as far to say it's a race thing, but it could be.
Well, ESPN is also like the biggest like sports not organization, but like sports media in
I would say
the world.
Yeah.
So obviously Stephen A knows that he probably won't get paid as much if he goes. I mean, he might get paid more if he goes somewhere else, but like, where the fuck is he gonna go? Like,
where the fuck is that? I mean, like what? Yeah. He could start his own business.
That is why. Yeah, that's why they can probably take a little bit of advantage of him and fucking offer him a shit contract for a shit amount of money. But
yeah, they kind of have a monopoly.
And like, there's nothing to compare him to, like there's not another quarterback going out there signing something crazy, and you can be like, oh, I'm better than him.
Right, exactly. And the Michael Strahan thing, they're gonna say he's an athlete. That's why he's getting paid that much. They're gonna have.
Well, and he can't compare him against like NBC and Amazon and CBS and Fox because they're big. They are bigger television.
Right, and they have a bunch of different things going on, and he's not gonna have what he's doing at CBS. He won't get a show.
Yeah, exactly.
Shows.
Exactly.
That won't work. So, all right. So I guess we all agree Stephen A is underpaid, not overpaid. Varying differences. I said 15 mil. Manis, how much do you think he's worth?
I'm gonna go 50. I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna say 50.
50.
And I'll go middle. I'll go like 25, 30.
25.
Which is where I was at.
What was Tom Brady's contract?
10-year, 350.
Yeah.
So he's making 35 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he deserves more than Tom Brady.
I don't know. I think Tom Brady, when he gets into the football scene, everyone's going to be listening to him, especially come draft days when he's breaking down quarterbacks and everything. That's going to be crazy.
I don't know what the deal is, man. I got to see him analyze before I can say anything. But like, that's what I'm saying. He hasn't even done an analysis yet, and he's signing that big guy.
It's the name.
It's more about the name. It's more about the name than it is anything.
Like the GOAT.
No, that's why I'm not taking away from Tom Brady. I'm just using it as a that Stephen A. should be at least closer to the range.
Fair.
Well, yeah. I mean, clearly they don't give a fuck about your analysis. Like it's just about your name. Like Michael Strahan,
Yeah.
probably one of the best defensive players. Like I mean,
Right. Yeah. No, that's what it is.
It's-
It's about their name.
yeah.
'Cause
Tony
analysis-
Romo, like a mediocre quarterback. You know.
Yeah, it's just about the name. How
Who do you
well-
think? Who has more followers, Tom Brady or Stephen A?
Tom Brady by a mile.
Mm,
On Instagram?
I'll check Twitter. You check Instagram.
Okay. I'll check it right now.
Tom Brady, I feel like it hasn't been really like a media presence for like he hasn't been like a huge. I feel like in social media, like
Tom Brady's at
In-
12.8. Oh, Stephen A might have more than that.
Look,
Stephen A's
dude,
probably-
Stephen A. has double Tom Brady's Twitter followers.
Stephen A has 1/3 of Tom Brady's Instagram followers.
yeah. See, but
Well, Tom
it's all
Brady-
about like platform.
Sexy pictures. No, Stephen A. is not posting sexy pictures.
And Tom Brady has his sick hype videos before every game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and he's
but
like,
also-
he had Giselle for 13 years.
Yeah.
Also, Kyle, where do we go for all of our sports information?
Oh,
Like when it just
Twitter.
breaks, Twitter.
But
Yeah.
I'm interested to see once Tom Brady retires and he becomes analysis.
Yeah,
What his Twitter's gonna look like after that?
When he gets active on
Right.
Twitter more, like
Right.
tweeting stuff about sports.
Because
Yeah,
his connections are gonna be absurd.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
low key could be like Adam Schefter, like those guys, breaking shit.
I mean, it depends how into it.
Yeah,
He
right.
wouldn't do like hardcore
It
stuff.
depends what his job, what his role is going to be.
Yeah, I don't think
I
he'll
don't
do
think it'll be that
sports.
in depth.
He's not like Shannon Sharp, bro. The greatest analyst of all time. Just kidding. Dude, I love Shannon Sharp.
I love you.
Okay.
Okay.
Love you.
All right, sick. All right, that's it. Went really over the time, like 11 minutes over. Kind of doubled it, but that is our segment. If Stephen A is overpaid, let us know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks for watching. Peace out.